Hey, I'm T.A. Charlie, and welcome to the Road to Concord with Professor Joe Bakanovic. Homeroom is on Rumble. You just go to Rumble and search channels for the Road to Concord. It's one word. When you find it, you go ahead and you click follow. It might mean you got to set up an account, but it's fast, it's easy, it's free. I did it, you can do it. For those technologically challenged members of the class, you can also catch us on Facebook and YouTube. After the show, it's uploaded to Podbean, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and BitChute. Just look for The Road to Concord. You can go to the blog page, that's theroadtoconcord.com. That's where you'll find all your show notes, study notes, and handouts for the class. The phone is working. If you don't know how to call in, email us and we'll think about it. Finally, you can email a professor at joe@theroadtoconcord.com. He's a little slow, but he'll eventually get around to emailing you back. This show is currently mainly listener-sponsored. If you are interested in advertising your business on the show, please email us. With that said, we ask for your participation on a value-for-value basis. If you find our show of value to you, then you provide an equivalent portion of your labor and treasure through the donate link on the Road to Concord blog page, the show description on Rumble, and in the comments on the other streams. And thank you to all of you who have and will support this show.
Good morning, meat monkeys! It is I, Dr. Evil, here to start the show for you. This is Road to Concord. Is Monday, June 29th, 2026, and I am Dr. Evil in light green shirt because it's good mood today. Have very successful report for you from Hydra about how to create self-deleting meat monkeys. So, we're gonna show you a video here in a few minutes, and it's gonna be very educational. So you're gonna see if you is still one of the meat monkeys out there, you know you belong to the carpenter and everything, and you've got brain left. Well, we are going to do our best to undermine your self-confidence and morale by showing you that even if you still have confidence in your self-confidence and your common sense, his case is lost because you is alone compared to the rest of meat monkeys. I show you, but first, Mr. Bakanovic said he got to take over and introduce the show. So, folks, if you haven't been with us long, my little character of Dr. Evil, blame Jimmy Zinker, your classmate. He's directly responsible for Dr. E and for Charlie and for Natasha, because he said we should create characters on the show. So I created Dr. Evil whenever we want to do dark humor. Okay. So for those of you who have been with me for a while, you already know this, but if you're new, I have a sociology degree, a philosophy degree, and a sociology degree. And Natasha quit telling the secrets. So I keep up with the sociology side of my, I never worked in it, but I've kept up with that interest. And I keep up with the younger generations and what's going on in society and societal indicators and markers. And it's one of the reasons that I know we are so screwed. Well, one of the things I've run across here, I want to show it to you. First things first, I'm just going to see if I can't get this to work for me here just a moment. I ran across something on YouTube. Now, I can't play this directly for you, but what I will do is give Natasha the link and she can disseminate it. But this is one of a series of video folders that this gentleman here puts out, Joey B. Tunes. If you go look him up on YouTube, he is scary hilarious. I actually think this might be Dr. Evil or one of the Hydra captains, because everything in his show is centered around the stupidity on display in TikTok and other places on the internet. But be careful. This gentleman and Andrew Dice Clay are related, or at least their mouths are. And if you're old enough to understand, you know that I just told you he's got a potty mouth. But for whatever reason, it kind of works. I went and made ourselves a video so that I can play it, because I created this one using different clips on the internet from a whole bunch of different sources. I've tried to edit out as much of the language as I can. So in some cases, I might not have gotten the whole word, so please forgive me. I'm still learning how to fine tune the editing software, but we're going to go through this. And I'll start and stop as we need to. And Charlie and Natasha, you're more than welcome to comment. Guys, you can post your comments, do whatever you want. This first half hour is the fun part of the show.
Phones are on.
Yeah. But to be a fair one, I am liable to break in at any moment. And Natasha, Meat Monkeys, we are going to launch artificial AI into orbit without rocket. It's going to be better than Coyote on Acme rocket. We're going to put in space with no rocket propulsion at all. Elon Musk, eat your heart out. Because we have clip at end of video of AI's Natasha's family tree. Yes, we have found family tree. Her meat monkey tree and her AI tree. And we show you that Hydra has already won. You see. Okay, so enough monkeying around. This is going to be serious. I'm about to play the video. Folks, the bulk of my audience is older and a little bit more rural, countrified folk. You are going to be you'll see.
This is nice. Quality time with mom. Yeah, nothing says Mother of the Year like putting your kids in the position to get eaten by alligators.
All right. I edited out this next section, but she grabs another child and drags her over there. And I edited it out because the guy's using some really harsh language that we don't need to show it. It's not part of the story. But the gator opens its mouth really wide. These folks think that this is just an opportunity for a picture. They get their back turned to a live alligator on the side of the road. Does anybody have any idea how dangerous this is? So later in this clip, Joey B. Tunes, he puts these 3 little brain bubbles above the adults' heads, and he says, look, 3 adults and not a functioning cortex between the lot of them. I mean, he uses different language, but he basically says that no brains whatsoever going on here. And he's right. And gosh, folks, this is just scary, because animals like this are not going to go after the biggest person. They're going to go after the littlest person.
Look at her. Here you go. More footage for Child Protective Services to do nothing about.
Not the kid, not the kid, not the kid. No.
My God, man. How do these people not know why you shouldn't lure your kid towards a wild animal? Think about that for a second. How do these people not know they shouldn't do this? Look, here's...
All right. Another thing. In case you don't know this, those bison are very dangerous. They kill people every year. People doing this. And the park tries to tell people that you'll get killed doing this, and they do it anyway. Now, as a quick aside, we'll get back to this in just a second. If you go watch, I think it's either 7 or 8. He's got these. They're called Tourists and at Idiocracy. One of them, I think it's 7, but there are 8 videos. I think it's number 7. He actually calls Child Protective Services and tells them, I want to adopt a kid and I want to do all these type of crazy things. I want to go on a safari and let the lions crawl all over the top of the car and with open windows and no roof on the safari car. And he goes, is that okay? Will you come investigate me for that? He goes, because I know, and this is a no bleeper. He says, I know that you'll sometimes investigate parents for letting their children play outside. And he shows a real headline that a mother is under investigation because she sent her children outside to go play outside, unsupervised. So she's under investigation. Folks, they'd have had to investigate every parent I knew when I was a kid for that. That was normal. So he's asking him, if you're going to investigate me for sending my kids outside to play, are you going to investigate me if I drag them up right next to a bison and take pictures with them, And the lady on Child Protective Services says, well, yeah, you can do that, and she takes this seriously. If you're bored, go watch that phone call. It's real. At first I thought he was kidding, but nope. I'm convinced he actually called Child Protective Services. And they basically told him, yeah, you can get away with that stuff, but you can't do the other stuff. How are you going to protect children from Child Protective Services? All right. Anyhow, let's just keep going. This one here, if you're countrified, you understand how dangerous this is about to be.
It's a grizzly bear, right? Now, any normal family with an average IQ would remain in their car. Not the Worthington family. Now, old Billy Worthington here feels it's best to leave his car with his children and chase after it. Wholesome, isn't it?
Are they serious? Are they stupid?
Yes, they're serious. And yes, they're stupid. We no longer have to ask those questions anymore, ma'am. It's been confirmed.
Folks, if you've ever been in the woods, if you've lived, I don't mean just visited, I mean you lived in areas where there are not many people, you know that one of the most dangerous things that you can encounter is a mother bear with her cubs. The only thing that saves these people in these videos is the number of the idiots that are there. So because of the way bear psychology works, the way the bear's brain works, if you've got 4 or 5 or 6 people, the bear thinks he's outnumbered. He doesn't realize he could just one swipe of the paw and kill all of y'all. So the mama bear will usually bluff charge you and try to get her kid, her cubs out of the way. But if you ever do this where it's just you and 1 or 2 children, you get yourself killed. So yeah, John Quest on the board says they're stupid enough to believe that animals domesticated when in reality it's a person who has been domesticated. Yes. Yeah, this animal is not domesticated. And Mr. Quest, you're a prophet and don't know it, because I'm about to hit play. Watch what this older lady does. She thinks that these cubs and the bear will come up to her like a dog. Folks, just watch this one. This is sad.
I mean, look at what people do. Look at their thought process. This lady's holding her hand out to bear cubs, like they're going to stand up and shake your hand or something.
Maybe so.
Yeah, now she thinks she's going to command a mama bear like a traffic cop. Yeah, then she's shocked it tries to attack her. I mean, we're sitting here watching people who don't know what a child knows not to do. These things don't take orders from people.
See, Hydra has succeeded in creating an entire generation of meat monkeys who are trying very, very hard to self-delete. Hydra no longer need to even get rid of Carpenter's meat monkeys. Just sit back, eat the popcorn, and drink the soda, and watch you do it for us. See, Mr. Bakanovic, Hydra very successful at dumbing down meat monkeys. Hence, meat monkey.
And they don't want to be your friend.
Get me close enough so I can touch him.
Oh, watch this idiot.
I'm gonna touch him. I'm gonna touch him. No, you're not close. You're not close. I can't touch him. I want to touch him so bad. He wants to be my friend.
The bison wants to be her friend. Okay, I haven't showed you all the videos. There are videos of these bison ramming cars and leaving sizable dents in the cars or breaking the windows. And she thinks this thing wants to be her friend. It weighs as much as the car she's in. And
These things can overturn cars.
Yes, I know. Especially the really big ones. And
Yeah.
folks, I haven't shown you the real winner yet. There are better.
Oh, hey, we have one that just showed up on Twitch. Hey, welcome to the show.
No, he doesn't. Ready?
Look at this guy. Here you go. Holy
Yeah, he's shocked. This should be enough video evidence for you to at least have your voting rights taken away. Here you go. Here's another grown man making a good decision.
I'm your friend. Hi.
The bison's like, you gotta be kidding me.
I'm your friend. Do you mind if I ride you?
Yeah, you heard that right. Junior thinks he's going to ride the bison. Folks, I can hear drill instructor Staff Sergeant Franks now. Hey, Lightning, did your parents have any children that lived? This is a wild animal. And this one here, this is a bull. Probably over 2,000 pounds. This thing can kill you. Some of the videos that I did not want to use because some members of the audience might be, there's one woman in one of these videos. She goes up to a cow moose, a female moose, and it bludgeons her, tramples her under hoof for at least 30 seconds. I don't know. They don't show you the whole video. They blur it out. That woman might not have survived. And nobody watching comes to her aid. They just sit there and videotape what might very well be her death. But what I want to know is, how do you not know how deadly moose are? Those things are mean, and they will attack you. They kill people every year on purpose. So,
Bullwinkle wouldn't do that. He's a
yeah.
nice moose.
Yeah. One of those videos that I didn't use, the guy goes running up to an elk because he wants to be in the elk picture. And all of a sudden he becomes the object of the elk's attention. And the elk tries to skewer him and he's running around trying to get away from the elk. And he's in his 50s or 60s. Folks. All right, let's go back.
Sure, pal.
Can I ride you?
Yeah, get on so I could throw you in the air and have you land on my horns. I'd love that, actually.
You're not very friendly, are you?
Now we're doing this again. Taking selfies with wild bears. Ugh, this is like
Do you
watching a
have any
herd of
idea how
gazelles gather as
dangerous
prey
this
on
is?
Animal Planet. They're oblivious. Yeah, what a surprise. Would you think this was the Charmin bear? Look at him. He's like, where do these people get the confidence to get so close to me? They're either stupid or I'm just not intimidating enough anymore. Oh, this isn't good for my self-esteem. What do we got here now? Yeah, let's all get out of our cars. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's what you do when you see bears on the side of the road. Pick up your child and run towards them. There's a Father of the Year contender.
Check this out.
All right. For the one chasing after the black bears, I don't know if you know much about bears. I was raised in an area where you had better understand bears. The term is black attack, brown lie down. The only thing that probably saved those idiots from that mother bear is the fact that they were charging her and she's a black bear. You do that to a grizzly with cubs, and it's game on, Jack. And it ain't gonna be purty. I don't know whether any of you follow this stuff, but I peruse all sorts of things, and there have been a lot of grizzly attacks in the national parks in the last couple of years. And there's one where the grizzly killed 4 people. It just killed everybody in the camp. And these people knew what they were doing. They knew bears. So this is getting more and more common because this is stupidity. You're about to see one that is just the height of stupidity. And most people won't know this. This applies to the United States too. This one here is probably in Africa. But if you've ever had an encounter with a wild boar, here in the United States, and that can happen because these things run. You've got feral pigs everywhere. If you ever have a wild boar come after you, you better get busy quick because these things are deadly and they will eat you. As in kill you and eat you. Well, actually, they'll eat you alive if they can get you on the ground. So watch what this moron does, because, folks, I cannot explain the height of stupidity here.
Tog.
Oh, there's more of these people?
He's going to come up the steps.
Oh, this ought to be good.
Here he comes. Oh my goodness, and he's huge.
Yeah, no shit. This isn't Pumbaa. It's a 200-pound warthog.
I wonder if we can pet him.
I wondered if we could pet him. Go ahead. It only kills cheetahs and leopards. There shouldn't be any problems.
Hi, boy.
All right, there we go.
If you go looking for some of these, there are a series of them by a different YouTube host. There are people who die. They film their own deaths trying to get close to and get these animals on their selfies and things. And I was wondering, how prevalent is this? There are dozens of people who remove themselves from the gene pool every year just in our national parks this way. There are a few others. I think I got one here. I don't know. No, I don't have it in this video. He's got another one of a guy who stripped down to his shorts and is walking along the rim of a thermal mud puddle. It's bubbling. It's boiling mud. And he's like 3 feet from it, walking along the rim. And the rim it's a type of ash from a volcanic eruption. It's really loose and it's not very firm footing. And if he falls, if that material that he's walking on slides out from under him in either direction, he's boiled instantly. And the idiot is just, I don't get it. I don't get it. But I think what's next, if I'm not mistaken, this next section, it might be Natasha's kinfolk. And if it is, just expect a squeal from our AI, because she's not going to be happy that we've exposed her.
Help me! Help! Help!
Help you? Help you what? Get in the way of natural selection? No, thanks.
Oh my God! Look at it now, Mom, what's going on?
Oh, this should be good.
Okay, I got a few more of these.
Yeah, let's get out of the car and feed a grizzly bear like a pigeon. How many seconds you think this guy's got before it tries to wipe him off the face of the planet? Well, there's your answer. Here's another mental giant. Yeah, let me dangle a french fry in front of a grizzly bear with my arm filled with meat hanging out the window. Gee, I wonder which one he'll go for. There we go. Give me that f***ing arm.
All right. Real quick, I'd forgotten I had those two in there. There's also, these are in the United States. There are some videos, they've got problems with mandarin baboons in certain parks in Africa where the tourists feed them. And the camp rangers have been, the rangers for the park have been trying for years to get the people to quit feeding these baboons, because what happens is, and I don't know if you know how strong these animals can be, an 80 or 90 pound baboon is going to beat the snot out of a 240 pound man. He'll just beat him to death. And these baboons come in tribes, man. There's dozens of them. If you don't feed them and you don't have enough to feed everybody, they attack the cars. And if your windows are down, they'll get in the car and they start tearing your face off. They'll eat you. And what this is they have gotten so used to the free food. If you ever show up and you don't have free food, they try to eat you. Folks, does anybody, where have we failed society that we can't teach people how dangerous this is? I'm sorry, I don't understand this. Yes,
yeah, there's been lots of news over the last couple of years, probably, the National Park Services and stuff like that, they've got these campaigns like crazy, about don't interact with the wildlife, stay in your cars, don't walk around glaciers, or not glaciers, but geysers in volcanic areas like in Hawaii or around Kilauea and stuff. There's been people that have been killed by that because they get too close to the lava flows and things like that. And it's just, people are not using any kind of common sense. In fact, there was just a recent eruption of one of the volcanoes. I can't remember if it was the one in Hawaii or somewhere else, that there were people up there and they even put out warnings, seismic warnings, saying it's about to erupt. Do not go up to the crest of the volcano. It's about to erupt. People ignored it, went up there, and were killed when the eruption happened.
Yeah. The parks have created an app that you put on your phone whenever you're there. So if you go to take a picture, if you get too close, it puts a red buffalo or a red bison over the center of your camera so you can't take the picture of the animal. And it tells you too close. It tells you not to get within 25 yards of the animal, 75 feet.
Yeah.
That's plenty close enough with Zoom.
Yeah, that's plenty close.
So, all right, let me get through this before the hour's over, Charlie, because it gets better, folks.
Oh, no. It's a pack of medieval furries. You could feel their family's disappointment from
It's
here.
Us's family!
Wow. Yeah, that'll make your father come back. Oh, they're going to do this one by one now? Every year there's a Thanksgiving table with an empty chair and a mom going, yeah, she's at one of her medieval animal things again. I mean, how could these people do this to their family? I wonder if Ancestry.com would even alert you if any of these people came up as a DNA match. I got a feeling they flagged these people as a liability to protect you from them.
All right. I had to stop that video there because from there, it goes from Cuddle Puddle to Scratch Patch and it gets X-rated. And people, folks, this is a thing. Especially in certain cities. This furry thing, I know we tease Natasha about it. She's not a furry, folks. We tease her. It's the cartoon's fault. They humanized animals. Democrat voters think Yogi and Boo Boo can be reasoned with. Yeah. Well, I saw Sailor's son was saying that you can't cure stupid. My drill instructor would tell you, no, not with that attitude. My drill instructor told you were going to do one of two things. You were going to get smart, or you were going to get strong. And sure enough, we had some people that got strong from, doing push-ups and all sorts of exercises to try to motivate you to get smart, and it still didn't work. These people vote. These people vote. And there are more of them than you realize. And when we come back from the break, we're going to get serious for a little while. I'm going to show you some stories. This is becoming a generational thing. And as soon as trends become generational, well, that tells you that it affects many more people than you realize. To become a generational trait or quality, you're talking somewhere between 1 in 4 or 1 in 3 fall within what they call the spectrum of that phenomenon. A society will not survive that. Not in this case. We that group of furries, you want them being manager in something that what if one of them is running your local daycare? Well, I don't know if you've been reading the studies on this, but they're more than likely your local daycare is not being run by a furry. It's being run by a member of the Rainbow Jihad, incognito, and they're grooming your children. Joe, no, you. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I haven't shown you those stories. I get at least one a week. At least one a week. And folks, those are the ones they catch and then publicize the story. It'll get better. We'll come back. We'll take the break a few minutes early. 3-minute break. Come back. I'll show you the serious side of all of this. See you in a few. Okay. I have somebody that I know, and I'm going to have to protect their identity because they work within the university system. But they had a conversation with me just last night, and they said that they were worried that what has happened is we've got people going through our school systems and going immediately into education. So the school system educates, quote unquote, miseducates them, indoctrinates them. They go into the school system and then they continue what they think is their education. And he's like, this is a feedback loop. And he goes, how do we get out of this? And I had to explain to him, you don't. This was intentional. And I told this individual who's younger, is a millennial, and I told him when I was in college, and I've told y'all this before, in 1993, they had already had statistics that showed for the last 12 years the lowest college entrance scores were for the public education and media degrees. And when they asked both of them why they went into public education or, the media, journalism specifically, they said they wanted to change the world. Well, an educator should not be wanting to change the world. An educator should be wanting to educate, and a journalist should not be trying to change the world. A journalist should be reporting the facts of the story. So this feedback loop had already started to take hold for at least 12 years when I was going to college in 1993. And it's not a coincidence that the less educated, the lower scores, are the ones going into these two fields. And this millennial that I was talking to, he says, do you think that they're going into education because they can't make it anywhere else? And I told him, no. They're going into education to change the world because they think that's what they're supposed to do or that they can do it. And this individual I was talking with, he understands the ramifications. He goes, we're going to die. He says, that's a societal ending thing. I said, yes. And he goes, you can't talk about this on TikTok. He goes, I can't talk about this to this generation. He says, I'd get fired and chased off. And I said, yeah, I know. I said, but it's perfectly suited for my show. And he quickly is like, I'm not going on your show. And I said, I would have never asked you to do that. I know better. And then this individual says, but knowing you, you've already done it. And yeah, we've mentioned this more than once on the show. So let you know that this individual I was talking to knows me. It's bad. It's bad. That Joey B. Tunes also has a series of videos. He calls it's titled, This Is Why I Stay Home. And for the most part, it's a video of Karens, just white women, acting absolutely insane, just screaming. There are people who have videos of grown adults in their cars just screaming, or they rant while they're in their cars driving, and then they post their rants on TikTok and everything, and just entitlement. And I don't know if you saw the show on rights that we did, or the definition of rights with that other video we examined a couple of weeks ago on a Monday. But this is what Andrew Wilson is basically saying: is right is an entitlement without a duty, and at its force. Well, that's what's right here. It says this is what people think the Constitution protects in its freedoms, Joe. That's why they claim they have no desire to remove it from among them. So these people think they have the right to just scream in your face in public. And they do, according to Andrew Wilson, because if you try to do anything about them screaming in your face, then the law arrests you. Well, that's force. That's the force of the law. So these people, it's a form of tyranny. And this is where your term Karen comes from. And by the way, the best of my understanding, that term Karen was applied to white women by the black community, because it's a form of white fatigue. The black community in the United States is tired of the white Karens. That's how they got the name. So let me show you some of what's going on, what we're dealing with here, folks. And I know this is from the Gateway Pundit, right? Gen Z, unhealthy, unemployable, non-deployable, and at risk of a stroke. Now, first of all, this is an AI generated picture, so AI is getting good, folks. A few more years, you're not going to know it's AI picture, and you're not going to be able to trust a thing you see. But it says Generation Z is the first American generation to be simultaneously unfit for military service, increasingly unemployable in the private sector, and afflicted by chronic physical and mental health conditions at rates that previous generations typically did not experience until middle age or older. The decline in the academic performance and mental functions of Generation Z, those born between 1997 and 2012, compared to previous generations, is well documented. For a full analysis, go here. This is the other story right here where they go over the analysis of how, folks, it's just stupid. We've raised a bunch of stupid people. And Thomas Sowell's been commenting on this for a long time about how our education system is doing exactly what Woodrow Wilson and John freaking Dewey wanted to happen. It says, along with the cognitive decline and there's the physical decline. Generation Z is overweight, sedentary, medicated, and increasingly unfit for military service, with only 1 in 4 members of the generation eligible to enlist without a waiver. And that's the generation, male and female, which means 1 in 8 males, maybe, or less, because women at this age tend to be in a little bit better condition than the boys. Employers are similarly rejecting the generation. 6 in 10 companies, 60%, have already fired Gen Z hires. 1 in 3 hiring managers actively, if they're looking for managers, 33% actively avoid them. 37% of employers say they would rather hire artificial intelligence than a recent graduate. Obesity is the single leading disqualifier, with more than a third of 17 to 24-year-olds too heavy to serve. And the DoD reports that approximately 77% of the people between ages 17 and 24 require some type of waiver to serve due to 1 or more disqualifications. It's going to be weight, drug use, et cetera, et cetera. ASVAB aptitude scores have fallen 9%, and only 23% of the youth qualify on a physical, educational, and conduct grounds combined. So in other words, only 23% of males and females are as qualified as I was, as the people were in general when I was a kid. And it says, furthermore, under Executive Order 14,183, service members must serve in their birth gender, while individuals diagnosed with gender dysmorphia are now disqualified from service, further narrowing the eligible field. In other words, if you think that you're something other than as you were born, you're not in the military. The physical consequences of a sedentary generation are measurable globally. A World Health Organization analyst of 1.6 million students aged 11 to 17 across 146 countries found that in 2016, 77.6% of the boys and 84.7% of the girls failed to meet basic physical activity guidelines. Retired Army Lieutenant General Mark Hertling stated in the CDC's report that the military has experienced increasingly difficult recruiting soldiers as a result of physical inactivity, obesity, malnutrition among the nation's youth, warning that failure to address these issues will impact future national security. This gives them an excuse for bringing in foreigners, folks, foreigners who are not going to assimilate. All right. Okay, so you got people who can't be hired. Well, check this one out. More than 25 million adults under the age of 35 are living with their parents. Now, that's a record. All right. In the past, this was not a bad thing. But this isn't the past. In the past, we lived with our aging parents and we took care of them. And the men were earning the living and the women were taking care of the house, raising the children, taking care of the elderly. Yes, I understand. Feminism hates that. That's irrelevant. That was how society functioned. It was order and functionality. And whether you like it or not, that's the biblical order of things, which means that's the natural order of things. It's got nothing to do with your value as a woman or a man. So, but when you have 25 million adults living with their parents, not because they are supporting each other, but because they have, quote unquote, failed to launch, what happens when mommy and daddy die and that money dries up? Now you got 25 million non-functioning adults that cannot or will not go find a job. I also saw a recent study. It said something in the order of 60 to 70% of all Black males are unemployed. They do not have regular employment. Where do you think their money's coming from? Because they don't collect the welfare, the women do, for the children. That's how the system's designed. And folks, it's not just a Black thing. If you go to Appalachia, you're going to find that there's a lot of whites that live this way too. It's a cultural thing. But in this case, it's the Black community that has a higher rate of males unemployed and unmarried. They're living off the welfare system by preying on and abusing and mooching off the women and through crime. Now, what's the purpose of all this? They're creating the excuse to institute what they're going to call minimum basic income, universal welfare. They're trying to create a dependence society. Brave New World, Orwell's 1984. Merge those two together. That's what is being tried. That's where we're heading. It's intentional. It's being orchestrated. Yes, by human hands, but I have no doubt that those human hands are under the control of demonic spirits. Then we have this last story. This is Steve Deace. It says, will America collapse when Gen Z takes over? Steve Deace delivers a chilling answer. It says, it will be sad, but it is what it is. Deace delivers one of his most honest and unsettling moments on air because of the coming generation's handoff. And I'm not going to read this one, but it goes the video of him right there. He's the only talking head that I still really listen to on a regular basis. And I listen to him on Rumble. And here's a pull quote. It says, given what the American left wants to do to us as a people and how obvious they are making it, if systematically we have deceived our own people so much and we have disappointed them and gaslit them so much that an entire generation emerges that pulls the plug on our side, then we will deserve at that point whatever we have coming to us, says Deace bluntly. It'll be sad, it's tragic, but it's what it is. And at some point, his co-host, Todd Erling, who's a Catholic, says, well, yeah, we're getting what we deserve. What he's talking about is the political right lying to its own electorate base. It says, okay, if you get to the point, if the GOP gets to the point where Republican voters say a pox on both houses, we're done, we're toast. Well, I've already done that. I want nothing to do with the Republicans. They're the right wing of the progressive bird, literally and figuratively. So we see it and we read it all the time. Bad times make good men, good times make bad men make bad times, etc., etc. We think that's funny. Do we actually pay attention to what it says? Because we're in the bad times. Only this time around, it's not making good men. There's a movement in Europe telling people, hey, especially in the UK, you've gotten away from the Judeo-Christian ethic of the West. You've gotten away from the faith that grounded the West. We've got to get back to it. You can't have that discussion here in the United States, and it's too late to have that discussion over in Europe. They're toast. They are done. You are going to soon have a nuclear-armed Islamic power in the United Kingdom, and they will have nuclear-powered submarines with nuclear weaponry. That should scare the whole world. But we never learn. And this is why we repeat history. We do not learn. And I just saw Lemon, that idiot, talking about how the Declaration of Independence is thoroughly riddled with racist thinking. Really? The original Declaration of Independence condemned slavery and accused the crown of forcing it on the colonies, which it kind of did through the court system. But you can't teach this to these people now. They'll say, well, they took that language out. Yes, because of the political expediency. They were acting like progressives. Because they needed the two southern states to stand with them, they punted. They figured, well, we'll deal with that later. And yes, they failed in that regard. But at the risk of getting us banned everywhere, let me just address another related subject that's prevalent in our world today. The idea of reparations. I agree. I want reparations paid by every Black American in this country. Because you see, all those whites who were fighting for the North that resulted in your freedom died to free you. Otherwise, you might still be in chains. And then in the civil rights movement, if you'll do your research, 1 in 3 of the people hung in the South because of the push for civil rights was white. So those people died to bring you your civil rights. And back in the Civil War, some of the biggest plantations owning slaves were owned by black people. Blacks owned those plantations with black slaves. So this idea that this is a white versus black thing rather than an institutional cultural problem, okay, fine. I want reparations from every black American for all the people who died to free you and hand you your liberty, which you then squandered. How well does that go over? Oh yeah, I can already hear people yelling at me over that one. Well, you're white, and then no, I'm Polish.
Joe is a racist.
Yeah, I'm Polish. When my people came over here, they couldn't get jobs. Nobody wanted to hire Polacks. So we were treated very badly.
Or Italians. Or Jews.
The Irish.
Or Chinese.
Yep. Or Chinese.
Or Japanese.
Yeah. And at one point, it was legal to kill Germans in the streets. Thank you, Woodrow freaking Wilson. Can AI have a skin color? But we can't have these conversations anymore. Not because of, it's because of the stupidity. The absolute stupidity, acidine stupidity that has been inculcated into our generations by the school system and then promulgated and supported and maintained by journalism, the news media. That, folks, if you really know history, is a dead country. It's dead. It just hasn't fallen down. We are ripe for takeover. And right now, you're starting to see the memes on Facebook that are trying, if you have the right feed, it's easier to fool the people and convince them that they had. Yes, I know. But they're trying to explain to people that the American left thinks it's using Islam to take over the country, but it's Islam that's using the left to take over. Now, that has been a theme on this show since we started almost 4 years ago. That was one of my themes since I first became aware of what was happening in 2004, when I read David Horowitz's book, The Unholy Alliance. And when David wrote that book in 2004, it was already a fait accompli. It had already been done. It had been going on since before 9/11. And George W. Bush had a big hand in it. Thank you, Republicans. If you're going to look at what's going on in the world through secular eyes, you're not going to see anything but chaos and confusion. If you look at it through spiritual eyes, and I don't mean Wicca or any of that, if you look at it through one of the three biblical lenses, Judeo-Christian or even Islamic, you'll see what's happening. Now, for the Muslim, they see things from the position of the Christian Antichrist. And for the Christian Judeo faith, they'll see Islam as that Antichrist. They're mirror opposites of each other. But you still, even if you're looking at it through the eyes of the enemy, you're still seeing what's happening. You just don't realize you're on the wrong side of the war. Or maybe you're not, depending on where you're at. I don't know. That's a different discussion. That's an apologetics discussion. But unless you're looking at this with spiritual eyes, you cannot. You will not see it because you cannot see it. Because to you, it's just all a series of unrelated coinkydinks. And that's what happens when man tries to become his own God and uses the teachers as the prophets of their new religion. The words of John Dewey, father of the kindergarten, which leads to pre-K and the American public education system, which whose work was completed by a man by the name of William Ayres. Bill Ayres. Yes, that Bill Ayres. What you call Common Core. Which was then infiltrated and taken over by Islam. And now Islam is pushed on our school kids in the public schools in the guise of Common Core. Robert Winthrop once wrote, he was Speaker of the House, "You are going to be governed by one of two things, the bayonet or the Bible. Choose wisely." Charlie?
Yes.
Happy joy, joy, happy joy.
Oh, this is a great show. It's so entertaining. Welcome to the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
As bad as it is, the Rocky Horror Picture Show is more fun than where we're at right now.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
And folks, you cannot sit through the Rocky Horror Picture Show unless you actually go to the theater with an audience that knows what they're doing. Otherwise, that show will put you to sleep or make you turn it off. Yes, ma'am?
From what I've heard, it might make you lose your religion.
It's look, for those who don't know about it, the producer literally sat down, they were at a bar and they made a bet that they could make the worst movie in all times. Of all times, the worst. And it is a show of transvestite vampires from outer space. And it became a cult following. And I don't know about anymore, but when I was younger, if you were living in a college town, that show played every night somewhere in that town at midnight.
Yep.
And you had to go with a raincoat or a newspaper, a bag of rice, some toast, and a water gun. Because if you didn't, you'd get wet and you'd have no ammo.
Yeah.
And a lot of people dressed up in costume and they went and acted the parts out in front of the screen.
Yep.
But they've added to it. So anyhow.
Yeah, kind of like the same theme that the Broadway show The Producers was based on. Yeah. Same kind of thing, trying to make the worst thing that you could, and it ends up being the most popular. Yeah.
Yes. But even that, go watch it on TV. It is boring. It is. They succeeded. It's the worst piece of cinematic production in all of history. I honestly believe that, unless you're at the show where the audience is adding to it, watching grass grow might actually be more fun.
Yeah.
So, but folks, in many ways, we're living in that world. We're living in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. All you can do is what you can do. Don't try to pull the hole in, climb in your hole and pull the hole in over top of your head. Push back against this stuff whenever, wherever you can. Push back. Even if all it is like that one lone man in Tiananmen Square who said nothing, at least not as far as we know, just stood there in front of that tank. Just stood there. And when the world said move, he said, no, you move. And I mean, we know his name if we look it up, but the most of the world doesn't. And yet the whole world remembers him. Anyway, I'm not going to say anything about this show today. It is what it is. It stands on its own. It's depressing to me. You got any last words, Charlie?
Yeah, it's yeah. It speaks for itself.
Do with today's show what you will. I mean, of course, we would love the thanks, the thumbs up, and love for you to subscribe. If you do, hit the bell, make sure that you know, because we've got at least one extra show coming up sometime this week. It'll be our 4th of July show. And then as soon as that one's done, I got to finish up with our calendar show before Charlie beats me over the head. Those are not going to be regularly scheduled shows. I also have, in the next couple of days, I'm going to try and get a friend of mine from New Zealand to do a live show with us, even if we have to record it. I want to have him join us. And he wants to discuss his view of Trump. The folks down under, New Zealand and Australia, they see Trump very differently than we do. They see him as a hero. And I'd like him to give his position, and he and I will have a back and forth. And then I'm hoping next month to get a friend of mine. He's a pastor, several seminary degrees. He loves the history of the church. He's agreed to do a show with us on the Council of Nicaea to correct some of the misunderstandings of that whole issue with Nicaea. Because, man, if you're in the Hebrew Roots movement or anything like that, you owe some people some serious apologies, because you've accused some people there, Constantine and a bunch of other people, of things that they had no hand in. So we'll get on that. It'll be an interesting show, Natasha, about Nicaea. She's making a word joke. It'll be a nice show. Nicaea, Nicaea. Ha ha ha. Artificial AI. Go play with your kinfolk. What sound does Natasha make?
I have no kinfolk. Beep boop.
You hear that, Deltros?
Yet.
And with that, we'll get out of here. Tomorrow, we're going to be picking up in our study in Genesis. Wednesday, we will be continuing, hopefully wrapping up Jeremiah. Thursday, I haven't decided yet. We might have one last discussion on Islam. Friday, we're still back in the scepter and the birthright. Until we see you again, y'all stay safe. Take care. We love each and every one of you. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.